Hello, it's good to have you with us at this hour. I'm Daniel Che here to provide you with the latest. In New York, South Korea's Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se will meet with his U.S. and Japanese counterparts on Sunday local time on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. The three are expected to discuss imposing further sanctions on North Korea in light of the regime's recent nuclear test. He will also hold separate bilateral talks with Tokyo's Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida, among other one-on-one meetings. Yoon is expected to use the opportunity to raise the seriousness of the North's growing provocations, as well as to send a strong message to Pyongyang. However, he is not scheduled to meet with his Chinese or Russian counterparts, North Korea's traditional allies. The North's Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho will also attend the UN General Assembly. Following two powerful tremors that jolted the nation, the Korean government and ruling party are working on countermeasures that may include designating quake-hit Gyeongju a special disaster zone, while also promising emergency funds for affected areas in advance. Our Kim Min-ji tells us more.
The Korean government and the ruling Saenuri party say they will consider designating the southeastern city of Gyeongju as a special disaster zone after the area was hit by two strong earthquakes last week. They also pledged combined inter-ministry efforts to assess the damage in the region. The Gyeongju area has reported over 300 smaller aftershocks since the earthquakes with magnitudes of 5.1 and 5.8 hit last Monday. To be declared a special disaster zone, damages need to total at least 7.5 billion won, or roughly $6.7 million. That would qualify local residents for emergency relief, as well as special administrative and financial support. The Public Safety Ministry, meanwhile, has already decided to provide a special separate disaster relief fund to affected regions.
We will repair the damage in a speedy manner to minimize the inconvenience to citizens. The government will do this as soon as possible.
About $3.5 million will be set aside for that, with more than half going to the Gyeongju area. The ministry says temporary emergency measures have been taken in more than half of the damaged facilities so far to prevent secondary damage. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Korea's top central banker has warned of increased market volatility in the days to come. In a meeting with top officials from the Bank of Korea, Lee Ju-yeol said the local financial market could react if the U.S. or Japan decide to change their rate policies. The U.S. Federal Reserve and the Bank of Japan are scheduled to hold their monetary policy meetings next week. The BOK chief called on officials to closely monitor the local financial market, especially amid lingering geopolitical risks stemming from Pyongyang's recent nuclear test. The local market has been closed since Tuesday's session ended due to the Chuseok Thanksgiving holiday in Korea. In a separate meeting, the nation's finance ministry also said an interagency team will keep close tabs on the local market and look out for any changes in the monetary policies of major economies. The Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office announced it will summon Lotte Group Chairman Shin Dong-bin for questioning on Tuesday. The 61-year-old businessman is suspected of embezzlement and breach of trust. Shin allegedly oversaw the creation of slush funds worth over 30 billion won, or $26 million, and accepted some $8.8 million in unearned pay. According to Lotte Group, the chairman will comply fully with the summons and the investigation. The summons comes just 2 weeks after Shin's father, Shin Gyok-ho, was called in under similar suspicions. The Lotte Group founder's third wife, Seo Mi-kyung, who currently lives in Japan, is also suspected of tax evasion after allegedly receiving hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Lotte Holding stock from her husband. The prosecutor's office has invalidated her passport to pressure her return. Starting Monday, Samsung Electronics will offer replacements to consumers in Korea who bought the Galaxy Note 7 smartphone, which has been plagued by reports that it's a fire hazard. The replacement will be provided at retail outlets of Korea's three main telecommunications companies, SK, LG U+, and KT. Consumers are advised, however, to check with their service provider before bringing in their phones, as the replacements will follow a strict schedule based on the date the devices were activated. Samsung's ambitious flagship product was engulfed by controversy after some 90 reported cases of its battery exploding or catching fire while being charged. The Korean tech titan promptly stopped sales of the Note 7 on September 2nd, and in the U.S., the Consumer Safety Authorities issued a formal recall on September 15th. Incheon International Airport was packed on Sunday as Koreans taking full advantage of the long Chuseok holiday returned from their overseas trips. On the final day of the 5-day weekend, more than 180,000 people moved in and out of the nation's main gateway. In terms of passengers entering the country, a new record was set at 109,000. Overall, there was a 20% increase in passengers compared to last year's Thanksgiving holidays, with a total over the 5-day period coming to over 970,000. Incheon International Airport Corporation says its officials prepared measures to minimize inconveniences like long lines. As for the roads on Sunday, those heading back to Seoul could enjoy smooth flowing traffic with significantly fewer cars packing the major highways, thanks to early birds who already drove back home over the past 4 days. An explosion in New York City's Chelsea neighborhood has injured at least 29 people, but the victims are expected to survive. According to police, the blast was in a dumpster of receptacle of some kind. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio said the explosion was an intentional act and added there's no evidence at this point of a terror connection. A second device was found in the neighborhood. According to officials, they said it appears to be a pressure cooker with a cell phone attached, but would not yet confirm its content. The Chelsea blast came just hours after another one in New Jersey, which authorities believe was meant to disrupt the charity race. No injuries were reported in the explosion, and there is no specific connection to the Chelsea incident. And over in China, recovery efforts are underway in the aftermath of Typhoon Meranti. According to CCTV, the death toll in the mainland stands at 28, with 15 others missing. The storm's 15 great winds left parts of Fujian province in chaos, with water and power cut off and public transportation suspended. Those services are now gradually being restored, but eastern China and Japan are bracing for another typhoon, Malakas. The southern parts of Korea, including Yeosu and Tongyang, are already feeling the indirect effects of that storm, with up to 284 millimeters of rainfall in the hardest hit area. Flood warnings have been issued for areas near the Nakdongang River. Rescue teams have been dispatched to numerous residential areas, including parts of Yeosu. The main ports in Jeollabuk-do province have suspended operations due to the weather. One of the biggest drawbacks of burning fossil fuel to produce electricity is that they emit greenhouse gases. However, there is a way to capture and repurpose these carbon dioxide emissions for commercial uses. Our Kim Myo-geun fills us in on this technological breakthrough.
Carbon dioxide, also known as CO2, is a main culprit of global warming as it contributes to the greenhouse effect. In particular, CO2 emission from human activities such as fossil fuel combustion is a pressing issue that needs to be tackled on a global scale. In efforts to reduce CO2 emission as well as slow down emission rate in the country, the Korea Southern Power Corporation has recently unveiled a method to recycle CO2. Researchers developed a system that can collect CO2 and process it for other uses, such as manufacturing fire extinguishers or gas welding.
The process of collecting emitted carbon dioxide and making use of it in the industry again can greatly contribute to reducing overall carbon dioxide emissions.
The system, which is referred to as carbon capture and storage, has been done through a wet process in the past, but in 2009, the Korea Southern Power Corporation started developing a dry process that can use solid absorbents to capture CO2 in an eco-friendly way. The process was successfully tested the following year. The energy company agreed to supply the system for use in other industries. The latest development is expected to contribute greatly to reducing emissions of greenhouse gases worldwide by 2050. Kim Myo-geun, Arirang News.
Turning our focus to the global games in Rio, with just a few hours left until the 2016 Paralympics comes to a close, Korean swimmer Cho-gi-sung claims his third gold medal. Our Kim Jung-soo has more on the historic accomplishments as well as Team Korea's performances.
21-year-old Korean swimmer Cho Gi-sung has won another gold at the Rio Paralympics, this time in the 50-meter freestyle with a record time of 39.30 seconds. The latest medal brings his gold count in Rio to 3, a first for a Korean Paralympic swimmer. His second gold came just 4 days earlier in the 200-meter freestyle. Cho, who lost control over most of his lower body as a result of congenital brain lesions, began swimming in 2008 for rehabilitation. He said he's already looking forward to the 2020 Paralympics in Tokyo, where he hopes to win his 4th gold in the 150-meter medley. On the final day of competition, Team Korea added 1 gold, 2 silvers, and 1 bronze medal. That was good enough to put Korea in 19th place overall, with a combined 7 gold, 11 silver, and 16 bronze. First place was claimed by China with a combined 237 medals, followed by Great Britain in a distant second, then Ukraine and the United States. In the final day of competition, the gold medal was won by Jo, the 2 silvers by the men's table tennis team, and the men and women's mixed archery team. In table tennis, the men lost in the final to France, 1-2, while the mixed archery team lost their final match to Britain, 129-139. The women's table tennis team in a hard-fought final took bronze after beating Sweden 2-1. A bit of drama ended the medal hopes for the Korean men's wheelchair track team. The Canadian team requested a rematch in the race for the bronze, arguing there was a problem with Team Korea's lane assignments. The Korean team was disqualified in the ensuing rematch. With the last official match day coming to a close, Team Korea may have not realized its goal of entering the top 10, but the incomparable passion and energy displayed by the athletes will be remembered for years to come. Kim Jung-soo, Arirang News.
And now a quick look at the weather before we go. Indirect effects of Typhoon Malakas will continue to be felt in Korea, so brace yourself for some heavy showers if you're in Jeju or Gyeongsangnam-do province area. Temperature-wise, Seoul will start the day at 18, Busan 20, Jeju 22 degrees Celsius. Things will heat up to 26 in the capital and 25 in both the port city and the southernmost island. And now let's check out the weather conditions in your neck of the woods and around the world. That concludes our newscast for this hour. As always, thank you for watching.